The cannabis craze taking the world by storm as pot stocks blaze higher this year. Names like Cronos almost doubling in value just in the last few weeks. But one Raymond James analyst says the pot trade reminds him of tulip mania and is warning that the space could go up in smoke. David Novak joins us now from Toronto. David, great to have you with us.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
I think it's worth noting that your background, and correct me if I'm wrong, is covering the pharmaceutical and biotech space. So you're really approaching it from concerns about the medical claims when it comes to medical marijuana and the use of the various compounds in the cannabis plant when it comes to treating illnesses. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So I actually think it's important to preface this discussion with the fact that I don't view myself as a cannabis analyst. I view myself as a healthcare biotech analyst. And, unfortunately in Canada, the major exchange here, the TSX, has bafflingly decided to lump cannabis in with a broader healthcare index. So I have a fiduciary responsibility to my investors, both retail and institutional, to provide a fair, objective, unbiased opinion on the cannabis space. And I took the perspective to look at the space from the only lens I know how, and that's a scientific medical lens. And providing an objective, unbiased opinion is something that we at Raymond James provide. We pride ourselves on being able to deliver.
So basically, you don't buy a lot of that. You say the research is scant, if even existent, to actually prove that a lot of the claims are effective. There's one statistic that I want to quote you back from your note. To date, medical cannabis is associated with a probability of clinical success of 1.3% for a hypothetical therapeutic with niche market potential, or approximately 10 times less than the 14% phase 1 to commercialization clinical success rate of modern-day biotech drug development. So boil that down for me. It sounds like these claims are just not going to make it. They're not going to be proven.
Well, I think that's right. So the approach that we took is, first we started off with the sector as a whole. I'll be as clear as I possibly can. This is a bubble. Just like the tulip mania, just like the commodities craze, railroad craze, even the cryptocurrency craze of last year. So to look at the space, LPs right now are trying to justify their egregious valuations by making bold claims of medical efficacy in major medical indications. So we took a step back and we looked at about 10,000 preclinical and clinical studies that have been curated by the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. And we wanted to determine whether or not any of these claims, from glaucoma to glioblastoma, had any scientific merit. And what we saw is there's really only 3 indications with moderate scientific supporting evidence. And that is chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting, chronic pain, and improving muscle spasticity in multiple sclerosis. To date, if you look at all of the clinical trials that have been completed, there's about 160 of them. Only 2 drugs have been approved by the FDA, Marinol and Epidiolex. That's a 1.4% probability of success. For a drug that, you look at, Epidiolex did 1.4 million in sales in December.
Right.
Compare that to proper drug development companies today, which have a probability of success of 14% from preclinical to commercialization, to develop a drug that in itself could generate annual revenues in excess of the entire cannabis market. The risk reward is just far more favorable in biotech.
All right. David, unfortunately, we're out of time. We'd love to have you back. We only scratched the surface of your 60-page report. But thanks for your time. We do appreciate it. David Novak of Raymond James. Tim, I go to you. What if you took out medical use? What if, for some reason, it wasn't proven or not proven that it would be effective?
Good for him for asking some difficult questions about a sector that's very expensive. But to start to talk about tulips, I mean, first of all, I would argue that New Frontier Data does some great work in the space. They say it's $368 billion for the market with legal, illicit, medical, and recreational global. I mean, that's not a tulip market. That's a massive, massive market. But to get to the efficacy issues, you can make an argument 15% of the world's population are suffering from a condition that's commonly treated by cannabis. I mean, there's no question about it. And pain and OTC and sleep, that's working.